All right, today's part 2 of building our Gambler 500 Lexus IS300. Hello my friends, and welcome to Tom's Tinkering and Adventures, where we are building a Gambler 500 car. And this is a Lexus IS300 I got. It's a salvage title, it's beat up, it's got 250,000 miles. It still runs though, and we are slowly converting it into a vehicle we can have fun with on a 2-day, somewhat off-road adventure. My buddy Norm in the background there is helping me out with this. And in part 1, we put a sort of a home-built lift kit on this thing and got some tires installed, a few other things. So today we're going to get the other 2 tires installed on the front. You can see, there they are. These tires are not the same as the back one, so I got a new set of front tires. We're going to try to get a roof rack on it, and probably going to cut the front bumper, and maybe we're going to do a little bit of cutting on the front fenders as well, because we cannot turn this vehicle full left and full right because the bigger tires are hitting. Tires were mounted pretty quickly, and we've got the front bumper off. It doesn't look too bad without it. I think we're gonna sacrifice part of this bumper and we'll put the rest of it back on, but we do need to cut these fenders. This is up on the jack, but you can see it's pretty close right here, and then when we turn the wheel it definitely hits, so we're gonna have to trim the fenders and the bumper. Well, we can live with it or without it, we'll figure that out. So we're trying to figure out a nice way to trim these fenders evenly. So we made this really awesome jig here. Cut a notch in the top of this, got a Sharpie marker, and we put a bolt through there. So the idea is that you ride along like that, and then that's going to draw a line. That's 1 inch, that's 1.5. So we're going to draw a 1-inch line, see how we like it. Maybe we'll draw the 1.5 also, and then we'll get to cutting. So this is just some garage ingenuity at work here. I don't know how good it is. Looks like 1 inch is pretty much right on the edge of this fender.
Oh man, look at that.
Well, some of us didn't pass kindergarten the first time. It's okay. So we drew a 1 inch and a 1.5 inch. And I think, well, our idea was if we cut 1 and we want to cut more, then we got the 1.5. But I think, no guts, no glory, we're going to cut 1.5 inches. So I do have these awesome, fancy fender flares that we're going to mount on after the fact. So no matter how crappy we make it look, this is going to make it look mint. It's going to look factory. Yep, oh, you can tell how awesome it's going to look. I think I can make this look good, like I know what I'm doing. Uh-oh, I scratched the paint. Oh, no.
I need a, hey, a bandsaw. Yeah.
Bandsaw? That's just like NASCAR. Got this thing all clearanced out here, beating a few things to get some more room. This inner piece here might need a little bit of massaging as well. Yeah, look at that. Oh, it's like a perfect radius. Yeah. And I think what we're probably gonna do, yeah, a little bit more beating with the hammer, and put the tire on it and see how it feels. Okay, we've done work with the grinder and the hammer, and now we're getting ready to install these custom wheel arch covers, whatever you want to call them. So getting to work. We're you know, going to keep the body mint here. If we have to put this thing back together, we want it to look good.
I lost my hole.
Uh-oh. All right, we're going to remark the hole, and we'll be back. We'll show you what these look like mounted on here. There it is. Definitely has a purposeful look to it now. And with our modifications inside of here, we can go full lock, and it just touches, just barely touches, but of course we're full extension now, so once we drop it down, we'll see how it actually works. So I thought a little comparison would be good. This is the stock fender, and that's as far as we can turn the wheel on that side right there before it hits on the back. And then here's our super modified with awesome custom fender flares. And there you go. See if we can turn it all the way. Boom.
Progress.
All right, there's where we're at right now. Cut the bottom of that front bumper off. And we're sitting on 4 wheels now. Nice amount of clearance up here on the front. So, the back wheel's got to get cut out, the wheel arches. Yeah, I think we've got plenty of clearance up on the front there, considering, you know, the amount of off-road suspension that a Lexus IS300 has. I'm very pleased with the way the front bumper turned out. We were discussing whether we should even put it back on. Yes, no, maybe. As you can see, yeah, this car's not perfect. We've got lots of things that are not right because this is a salvage title car. It's been in a wreck and it wasn't fixed properly. So, but anyway, I think we've got clearance on the front. Very good now. We're gonna do a quick run up and down the street with it, see how she feels, and then we're gonna probably start on the back wheel arches, I think. Okay, hopefully you can hear me now. We're starting the cutting process over here. We're cutting about 1 inch off of this wheel well, mostly because if we cut 1.5 inches, we'll be cutting right into the door. So we're gonna cut that off, and I guess when we put the fender flare on this one, half of it's gonna get mounted to the door. Or the back doors won't open, one of the two, so maybe it'll be a 2-door when we're done. Well, there we are with our wheel arch cut out. Cut 1 inch out of it. We've got the beer and we've got the fender flare ready to go. So as you can see, our fender flare is going to have to mount partially on the door and partially on the body. So we're going to screw it onto the door. We'll make a cut in it somehow or another here, and then we'll see how that works. But here, oh yeah, it looks very nice. Well, that don't look so bad, I don't think. I made a cut right there. We can open the door. Of course, anytime you do something like this, you know, unless you're super professional, you got to make a little bit of a compromise. So we made it work. Not perfect, but it works. A lot more clearance now. Well, we're still up on the jack stand, so we'll drop it down once we get the other side done, and we'll show you what it looks like. We've got our infamous purple marker on here, ready to make another cut. And we'll have all 4 wheel wells cut out. And then hopefully we can get the roof rack mounted today. That was our plan. So we'll see. There's second back wheel, 4th wheel. Of course, we saved the cutoffs here in case we want to return to stock. I'm sure it'll be a piece of cake. We'll just tack weld them right back in and we're good to go. But there's where progress for so far. All right, so several weeks ago, Norm and I went to the pick apart and we got a roof rack off of, what, do you remember what kind of vehicle it was? It was a Lexus SUV. So we figured, you know, Lexus is a Lexus. But yeah, obviously it's off of an SUV, so it was way too long. And there's no mounting holes on this car for a roof rack. And I'm not going to spend the money to buy a IS300 specific roof rack. So we are modifying this. I already cut this side down, cut it down a couple inches. We're going to, oh, thank you, look at that. Yeah, so we cut it down a couple inches. We're going to drill some holes in here. I got some riv nuts, we might try those. Otherwise, worst case scenario, we'll go right back to the good old sheet metal screws, get this thing mounted down, and then we got the crossbars for it as well. Those probably are gonna need some work too to make them fit, but I don't doubt we'll make it happen. So onward and upward. The Norminator's hard at work here. We've already gotten one of the rails mounted over here. And we did use riv nuts. So we drilled in, put in the captive nuts inside of there. We're pretty proud of ourselves, even though it's pretty crappy. It's gonna look good. All right, we got our rails mounted. They look pretty decent. Now our crossbars, I said these are off of a SUV, so they're a bit too wide, as you can see. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take them apart. There's some Torx bolts or screws or whatever underneath here. There you go. We're gonna take those out. Hopefully we're able to cut this, slide that in there. That's our thought. So who knows? We've never done this before, but we're gonna give her a shot. Well, there you go. We need a skid plate on the front. We want to put a skid plate across the from the bottom of the remaining bumper underneath to the oil pan. That's our temporary / possibly permanent roof rack holder deal. And unless we find something different, we're going to make a way to get this plastic tub up here and walk around fender flares. Not sure if we want to cut the back bumper or not. We may not. And I have a whole bunch of like random pipe and junk like that, so I might make a front push bar. But we're pretty close to where we want to be right now. On our test drive, we do still have a little bit of tire rub when you go full lock. The inside of the tire, I guess, rubs inside of there. So that might require a little bit more sledgehammer massaging, but I think we're pretty good. It drives great. It drives like a Lexus. Well, she's definitely a thing of beauty, in my eyes anyway. And I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think pretty much at this point, we're pretty close to done with all the required modifications that we're gonna need to drive it. So it's gonna be more just fun stuff now. Only thing that we're really thinking that we have to do at this point is put a skid plate on the front to protect the oil pan and the bottom of like the air conditioning condenser, and there's some other hoses and stuff in the front. But other than that, I think it's ready to off-road. And as you can see here, I've taken in some of this loose dirt that I got on the top of my new retaining wall. But all in a day's work. We got all those goodies on it, and next is going to come beautification. Well, I truly do appreciate you hanging around with me through this project so far. If you're liking my content, give me a thumbs up, leave some comments down below, and if you're not already a subscriber, please consider doing so. Thank you very much for watching. Get out there and find your adventure. Adios.